Expert picks presented by FanDuel, picking every NFL game against the spread. Chris Hassel, Kyle Long, and Pete Prisco. This week, the two perfect teams are on byes. Won't get to pick the Chiefs or the Vikings, the only 5-0 teams.
Yeah, look, let's get through the bye so we can have everybody playing. I like it.
This is usually the point of year where Pete says, is anybody any good?
Is anybody any good?
Well, I mean, you got the Chiefs are 5-0, the Vikings are 5-0.
And the Vikings, did they look good last week against a bad Jets? What's playing like a bad Jets team that fired their coach? They didn't look very good.
They were overseas. I chalk it up to a long distance trip.
We'll give them that excuse.
Okay, well, let's take a look at the games we have this week. Again, with the Chiefs, Vikings on byes. Also, Dolphins and Rams off this week. We'll start things with a good Thursday nighter. 49ers and Seahawks. Nick Bosa says it feels like a must-win. And we'll close things out with the Bills and the Jets on Monday Night Football. The Jets after firing Robert Saleh. How are the guys doing? Well, Pete, over 500 last week, 9-6. So was Kyle. And so, again, you remain tied.
That's amazing. I mean, when you think about that, we were tied last week. We're tied for the season, and he's destroying me in the best bets.
And so for people that don't know, me and Pete make our picks before the show, obviously. And when I do the picks, we have to hide the one that the other guy picks. So it's not like we're copying off of each other's paper. These are different ways to get the 40 or 40.
Although I did see you peek it over at my paper last week.
I'm not peeking at nothing you got, Pete.
Both guys 40, 42, and 1. I just got blinded by the sun. I feel like my face is just blowing up. There's a sun peeking through the clouds of the hurricane this week in South Florida. Let's start with that Thursday nighter. 49ers favored by 3.5 in Seattle against the Seahawks. Despite last week, both of these teams losing as home big favorites, the winner of this game is going to be in first place. Who's it more important for?
Well, I think it's more important for the road team. Well, no, actually, it's more important for the home team. But the road team is a team we all thought would be playing for a Super Bowl this year, and they haven't been very good. That's the concerning part. Defensively, we thought they'd be dominant. You let Arizona come back in that game. That's never a good look. They've been run on all season long. That's not a good look. But I think they go up there against a Seattle team that also has major defensive problems. They made Daniel Jones look good last week, and the Giants moved the football. That game was much more dominant, by the way, than the score would indicate. The Giants went up and down the field on them. They dominated that game. I think San Francisco, even though it's a short week, you're on the road, I think they come into Seattle and win that game and cover the number.
Yeah, it comes down to what Nick Bosa was talking about after the game. Look, the prep defensively has been good, but the adjustments on the defensive side of the ball have not been good. And historically, we know that this group seems to figure it out the second half of the season. Is this going to be the week that the San Francisco 49ers put a stop to all that crap we've been talking about them defensively? Obviously, the internal part of the defensive front, not as good as it has been in years past, and it's starting to show. They're starting to bleed a little bit on the edges. So for guys like Nick Bosa and the rest of that defense, they've got to figure out a way to make adjustments to keep Geno from just tearing them up the entire game.
What about the message? I mean, he's basically calling out his defensive coaches.
And nobody's saying anything to him about it. Nobody's saying you can't do that, Nick.
Nick Sorensen is the defensive coordinator there, and they also have Brendan Staley on that staff. So he's calling them out. They better start playing better on that side of the ball.
Niners, the first team since the '88 Broncos to have a losing record through 5 games when favored by 4 or more in all those games. This would be the first week they aren't favored by 4 or more, but it's sitting at 3.5 right now. London again this week, and again, well, you got the Jags going to London. We've seen it more than any other team. Jacksonville playing there. They have history there, and this is close to a pick-em against a Bears team that's over 500, Kyle, and playing their best football.
It's not a pick-em. It's not a pick-em. You know what I'm saying? This was never a pick-em. This was always the Chicago Bears. And I give credit to the Bears because they went out there early. The last time that I remember going out to London was 2018, 2019. We went out there with about a day and a half, 2 days to adjust to being overseas. Matt Eberflus and this Bears team, they went out the day after the game. I think it's going to be a great opportunity for them to settle in. I think it's going to be business as usual for the Bears. I know the Jags looked hot last week on the birthday boy's day, but it ain't his birthday this week against Chicago defense. And they were going to be without Brisker, but I still have concerns with the Jags getting the ball moving against Chicago's defense.
See, I think they're going to move the ball. I think they're going to score a bunch of this.
They being the Jaguars?
I think they're going to score. I think they figured something out.
He's back in. He's back in on Jacksonville.
I'm not back in. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game. game. I truly love the over in this game.
We both have the over.
Yeah, I think that thing gets loose. I think the Bears are pretty good on defense, but you mentioned no Brisker. I think they'd be able to hit down some shots down the field. The offensive line in Jacksonville the last 2 weeks have been very good. Now, the Colts aren't a great team, and they blocked them up. I think Lawrence figured something out. He played relaxed last week, and he will play relaxed here. They're used to going to London. I know the Bears went over there early, but I think Jacksonville's used to the environment more so. I think they win this game. They beat New England next week, and they come home and they're in the division race.
Look at this, though. Last 8 games in Europe, they've all hit the under in the NFL.
Well, we're bucking trends, me and Kyle.
Yeah, you know, we're going with what people aren't talking.
We're trend buckers.
I mean, the Jags figured out how to score points last week. You look at Caleb Williams in this offense, they made a big change. It's Shane Waldron being committed to having Roshan back there in single back, hitting heavy downhill runs in the goal line. None of this cute stuff. We're not running around people anymore. They want to win at the quarterback position with him in the pocket, and when they don't have him in the pocket, they're going to hand that ball off to the running back. I love the things that offensive line has done. Waldron's making changes.
All right, let's go to Sunday Night Football. It's the Bengals and the Giants. That's the Sunday night game? What? Oh, Daniel Jones 0-7, by the way, in primetime games.
Oh, he's baby
At
Kirk
home.
Cousins.
Yeah.
I mean, well, Kirk Cousins has been good in primetime lately. So, look, this is the Giants. Kudos to Brian Dable for what he did last week.
Yeah.
You go to Seattle without neighbors, and you dominated the game. I mean, and Daniel Jones is playing pretty good football.
He hit the deep balls.
Yeah, he's playing pretty good football.
Without neighbors last week.
Yeah, that's impressive. And the defense played well, too, at times. So I do think that the Bengals are the more, when you look at them, they're the better team. I'm concerned about the Bengals defense in a big way. I think this could get high scoring as well. I think Burrow is playing at such a high level. Now that Higgins is back, they'll score a bunch of points. I think the Giants will score as well. The Bengals have to show people they can stop somebody, and they haven't done it yet. High-scoring game, but I think the Bengals and Burrow will find a way.
The problem is, if you're not going to be getting after Daniel Jones in the pocket, he will look like a successful quarterback in the NFL. If he has time to sit back there, make a peanut butter sandwich, get himself a glass of milk, and make his throw, he's going to look like a real quarterback, like we saw last week, was able to find Darius Slayton. For the Bengals, if they can affect that timing, that rhythm of that offense, we could be looking at a pedestrian Giants offense. And for the other side of the ball, for the Bengals offense, I love Orlando Brown's development as a left tackle. He looks as in good of shape as he's ever been as a in the National Football League. Amarius Mims filling in for Trent Brown a few weeks ago, and he looks like an upgrade of the position. He's better every week. The offense for Cincinnati, they're unreal. So I'm going to be going with the Bengals, and I'm taking the over here again.
The matchup, look, you talked about pressure on Daniel Jones. You know, Hendrickson's basically the only guy who can rush the passer right now for them, and he's matched up against Andrew Thomas, who's one of the better left tackles in the league. That'll be an interesting matchup to keep an eye on.
All right, let's go to Monday Night Football. It's the Bills at the Jets, and the Jets, following the firing of Robert Saleh, they're elevating defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich as the interim head coach. What's up?
The Jets are up. The Jets are going to be up. I think the Jets are going to win this game.
Oh, they're going to get the fired coach bump?
Dude, I think the fired coach bump is real in this situation. I know a lot of people say they're just disjointed in the locker room and all that stuff, but what do you still have? You have Ulbrich, you have that defense, and you've got Aaron Rodgers trying to figure out with this cast of characters on offense. I trust the Jets more in this situation right now with all that's going on. Josh Allen's worst game pretty much in the NFL last week. I want to see how he recovers. I think the Jets respond to all the happenings inside that building this week. Give me the Jets and give me the under in this
Is Jeff Ulbrich going to change the offense? I don't think so.
No.
And the offense is primitive. It's outdated. It's archaic. They have no pre-snap movement. It's just not.
And that's how Rodgers wants it, right?
That's exactly the way Rodgers wants it. He likes lining up 2 over here and 1 over there, and here we go. And it doesn't work anymore. And they didn't make a change at offense. I think they're still going to struggle on offense. Their offensive line is not playing very well right now. I think the Bills will figure it out on offense. Last week, you go back and watch, the numbers were terrible for Josh Allen. There were about 6 drops in that game, too. I mean, they have to pick up that offense a little bit. I think they'll run the ball and take the pressure off him. I think the Bills, by the way, the schedule maker didn't do the Bills any favors. Back-to-back road games against the Ravens, the Texans, and now the Jets. That's 3 in a row. That's tough to do. I think they'll find a way to win this game.
I think the big reason I'm picking the Jets is because at the beginning of the year I said my bold prediction was they're going to sweep this division. They have to start winning against Josh Allen. Then you got to go beat him on the road. This would be a tough test.
You don't believe it then?
This would be a tough test. I believe it. It's on my paper.
He's just being stubborn.
You're just
right here. And then I was so happy that you picked the Bills because we're on opposite sides of the fence.
You're being stubborn. You don't really believe it.
I don't believe in the Bills.
If we put you on the lie detector test and said, do you really think the Jets are going to win, it would go,
Pushing the Pile is Kyle's podcast. What'd you guys push out this morning?
We pushed so much stuff, Chris, it was unbelievable. We talked about former players being coaches, the makeup of Detroit staff. We talked about the rookie quarterback success. We talked about a little bit of everything.
Okay. Pushing the Pile with Kyle and Mike Renner.
Solid.
Fibrous.
Pete every Tuesday. All right, we are going to pick the early Sunday slate next, highlighted by, this game's on CBS. It's Lamar Jackson against Jaden Daniels.
What's it on?
CBS. Continuing our expert picks presented by FanDuel from the NFL. The CBS games this week highlighted by Commanders at Ravens, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. First matchup of perhaps the two most dynamic quarterbacks in the league this season. Rookie sensation Jaden Daniels and the 4-1 Commanders against two-time MVP Lamar Jackson. And that's where we'll start with Kyle Long and Pete Prisco picking games against the spread. Ravens are at home, 6.5-point favorites. We're sending the A crew there. This is the Jim Nantz, Tony Romo crew for this one. First sights on Jaden Daniels this year.
Yeah, it's going to be unbelievable to not only listen to that broadcast booth, talk about what they're seeing with the young greatness in Jaden Daniels and the guy who's been storied MVP every year. It's Lamar Jackson. It's unreal. But I think the story of the game is going to be that line of scrimmage for the Ravens. Are they able to get after Jaden Daniels? Are they able to make him feel uncomfortable? And it's going to be everybody that's going to be tasked with this. All the fans at M&T Bank, all the staff is trying to get things in Jaden Daniels' vision. We know that if we're the Ravens, we know that if we can get Jaden Daniels off of his game, we can maybe make this Commanders team look to be human, which they haven't looked so far this season. I got the Ravens at home in this one. We're going to find out a ton about this Commanders football team.
I'm on the other side. I love what I've seen from him. You know that. I think he's phenomenal. And Lamar Jackson's playing at a high level. By the way, you're over. I love it as well. I picked this game to go really high scoring. I think the Ravens have defensive issues in a big way. We've seen it in a couple different games. We saw Gardner Minshew, who was benched last week, go there and win in the fourth quarter because they couldn't stop him. I'm concerned about their defense. I think there'll be a lot of points here. I think in the end, Lamar Jackson will make one more play to win it. I'm going to take Baltimore to win it, but I think the Commanders are really going to keep it close.
Because it is 6.5. So
yeah, it's a big bloated number for
that. Would really put the league on notice if the Commanders went in there and got this win. Let's move to another game, 1 o'clock Eastern on CBS, and Drake May getting his first start for the New England Patriots against a Texans team that won't have Nico Collins. He was put on IR this week with a hamstring injury.
Yeah, I mean, they've been so explosive and so electric with Nico Collins. You know, they can put him over there on the left side and he can do whatever he wants. C.J. Stroud and him have been unbelievable. But now we're going to be looking at this team with a lackluster run game, with a no true number one at the receiver spot. And on the other side, it's going to be Drake May. I'm interested to see what kind of game plan this amoeba-like Houston Texans offense will come out with. They find a way to win games. I think this is another one where C.J. Stroud shows that he is just the more elite player at this point in his career than Drake May. Obviously, people have a lot of things to say about Drake May, but I think it all comes down to this Texans offensive game plan.
You know, play the kid has always been my mantra, and I think it's about time they played him. It's the right thing to do. Drake May can't be any worse than what Jacoby Brissett has been the first 5 weeks of the season. So put him in there, see what he can do. Yeah, it's not a great offensive line, and everybody worries about the quarterback psyche. If you ruin the quarterback psyche by him taking hits or throwing interceptions, you drafted the wrong guy in the first place. I think he will play well. I think the Texans, look, losing Nico Collins is big for that offense, and they haven't been as dynamic and as explosive as we thought they would be this year. I think when you look at this, the Patriots defense will keep it close. Drake May will hang in there. He'll play better than anybody expects him to play. I like the Patriots. I don't think they'll win the game, but that number's too high.
I do think that if you are going to throw a young quarterback out there, you know, we talked about Bryce Young. He goes into a shell under pressure. A guy like Drake May with those physical gifts and that stature, he's a guy that might be a little bit more immune to the second-level pressure, bodies around him. So when we talk about that offensive line, it may not be as big of a deal with a guy like Drake May.
I just hope they don't put him in run, pass, go make a play situations. Because if that, he'll fail. I don't care what quarterback you are. If you put a guy in run, pass, you know, situations, throwing third and long, they're going to get beat up and they're going to get abused. So
let them pass a little bit on first down.
First down. Dictate some tempo.
Oh, the other 3 quarterbacks that have started as rookies are all over 500 right now, either 4-1 or 3-2, all the way from Jaden Daniels to Caleb Williams to Bo Nix. Let's go to another CBS game, Colts, Titans. It's the top D in terms of yardage, the Titans against the worst Colts, and we still don't know at this point in the week if Anthony Richardson is going to return.
Yeah, it's early in the week. I mean, if it's going to be Flacco, my money's going to be on the Colts. That's just the way that I see it. If it is Joe Flacco, and if it is Anthony Richardson against Will Levis in this game, I'm going to be picking the Tennessee Titans. But if it's Joe Flacco, and that's the way I have it in my brain, it's going to be the Colts, and you're going to hit the over in this game.
Think about what we say, and a lot of people, and I can tell you, people in Jacksonville were saying that last week too, is you'd rather face the guy they picked in the first round than the old man who comes off the bench.
Yep.
That's amazing
off
to
the
me.
couch.
When you think about it, it's incredible. But you're right. I mean, they would rather face Anthony Richardson. I think the Titans' defense is really good. We don't know who's going to start for the Titans either. Will Levis is still banged up a little bit. If it is him, I think they find a way. Look, the Colts can't stop anybody. I mean, Trevor Lawrence was doing nothing, and he threw for over 300 last week. I think Levis will be right here. I like the Titans in this game.
This is get right game.
No matter who plays, I like the Titans.
Okay. Titans at home. Pete says they're going to win that thing. Also at 1 o'clock Eastern, these are non-CBS games. This is the biggest spread of the week. The Eagles minus 8.5 at home against the Browns. Get this, guys, 7+ point underdogs this season, 7-2 straight up. That's crazy. That's never happened before.
That's why our records are like they are.
We don't know what the hell's going on out here.
Nobody does.
No.
I got the Eagles in this one, and I just think that this Browns team has been through so much emotionally, and obviously with the contractual situation with Deshaun Watson, and that's all the talk there is about in Cleveland. And I feel like there have been things that just haven't been covered in this team, and there are weaknesses of this team that fall outside of the range of just the quarterback position. And for the Eagles, they're trying to get right. They've got some guys getting healthy this week. I look for them to bounce back.
They've been stewing for 2 weeks. I mean, they were terrible the last time out, and I think they'll play better.
Last time out was in Tampa?
Yeah. They'll play better here. And I think the pressure is mounting on Nick Sirianni. Let's be real. He fired both coordinators. And so when you do that, what do you tell everybody? It's not me, it's them. Well, now they're new coordinators, and they're still not playing like they should, so it's you. So the pressure is firmly on him. The pressure's on Jalen Hurts, too. He's got to pick up his play as well. The book is out on him. You blitz him, and he has all kinds of problems. But having said all that, this Browns team is a mess. Deshaun Watson stinks, and I think if Kevin Stefanski had his way, he would bench him. Because I think he's being mandated, he's being forced to play him. Nobody has said that. Nobody has told me that. But I think he was forced to have him as his quarterback from above, and he's now forced to play him. It's a terrible situation. But when you could do an imitation of Deshaun Watson dropping in the pocket, broop, 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 over, left, right. He never stands there. Stand there. Throw the football.
As an offensive lineman, I agree with Pete. I mean, you throw a guy like Jameis Winston in there, and it gets your entire group to raise their level of intensity, attention to detail. You feel like you have a chance, one thing that you have not had with Deshaun Watson.
Body language is terrible, too. It's almost like, okay, I got $230 million guaranteed in the bank. So what if I win a football?
Yeah, I'd rather hear you complain all day than sulk all day.
Rough times in Cleveland, and 8.5 point dogs on the road against the Eagles. Let's go to the team that the Eagles lost to last time out, the Bucs, minus 3.5 in New Orleans against the Saints, and Derek Carr likely to miss the next couple of games.
And that's a problem for them. Although they do love Spencer Rattler. All we heard all
Yeah, is it going to be Rattler or Hayner?
I would imagine it would be Rattler. I mean, Hayner was the guy you put in, you can come in off the bench, but I imagine it would be Rattler. We heard good things about him in the preseason. They were raving about him. There was talk at some point if Derek Carr didn't play well, he might end up being the quarterback. He has got a big arm. He can throw it around. But I wouldn't want to be a rookie quarterback playing Todd Bowles. I'm sorry, I just wouldn't be. I think he'll throw so many different looks at him. Even if it's Hayner, they'll throw a bunch of different looks at him. The Bucs are the better team. They are playing consecutive road games, but they get a little bit of a break because they played on a Thursday night. I think they go into New Orleans, win the game, and cover the number.
Yeah, I think the Bucs win as well. And, the Saints have come back down to earth here. And with their offensive line injuries, it's going to be even tougher for this guy, whoever it is, Hayner or Rattler, to come in there and have success. And to your point about Todd Bowles, ain't no fun ever against Todd Bowles.
That would be 4 straight losses for the Saints if that comes true after that 2-0 start where they were averaging like 40-plus points a game. Cardinals at Packers, and Green Bay favored by 5.5 at home. I feel like it's tough to get a read on either one of these teams week to week.
Yeah, I mean, look, figuring out the Cardinals is tough. They get blown out at home to Washington, then go on the road and beat the Niners, rally to beat the Niners on the road. So, again, it's a tribute to the head coach and the staff. Because a lot of times a young team that's not that talented, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, could fold up after that, and they didn't. They rallied against a good Niners team. That tells you that they're well coached. But they're back out on the road against a good team, second straight road game, tough to do. And more so, I think Jordan Love's going to start feeling comfortable again. He hasn't looked right. He hasn't looked comfortable. And I think he's going to start looking comfortable. I think he'll light up this defense. I'll take the Packers.
Yeah, I think we put the cart before the horse, proverbially, with this Packers team. We were crowning him before the season. I was talking about Jordan Love like
Pete
an MVP
did. You had him, what?
I did.
Winning the Super Bowl?
They don't get after quarterbacks defensively, and Jordan Love doesn't look to be all there from an accuracy standpoint. I'm not quite sure if he feels 100% in the mental aspect of the game in terms of recovering from an injury. We know that sometimes your body feels one way, but then your brain tells you to feel a certain way. I think Jordan Love, to your point, may be getting back healthier, but I have some concerns about this team. And also, you don't know which version of the Cardinals are going to show up. I am picking the Packers in this one, but this is the one that scares the hell out of me. I can see the Cardinals go out there and Kyler Murray taking over this game because of the lack of pass rush for Green Bay.
But that's the sign of a good team, is that you haven't played really your kind of football and you're still 3-2.
Yep.
I mean, it's a sign of a good team. Even you won 2 games with Malik Willis. That's a sign of a really good team.
Everybody in that division, your old division, is above 500 right now, the NFC North. Let's look at the NFL on CBS slate once again. Still 2 games that we haven't picked yet in that 4:05 window. If you don't get one of those early games, you'll get one of the late ones, and you'll have to be out on the West Coast to get one of those. Steelers, Raiders, Chargers, Broncos. We'll pick those coming up. And big one, 4:25 Eastern Time. The Detroit Lions off a bye, going to Dallas to face a Cowboys team. Yeah, coming off a win, but still kind of reeling and have a home field losing streak. Finishing up our expert picks presented by FanDuel with the late afternoon slate on Sunday. Couple of games at 4:05 Eastern Time on CBS out west. Low totals. Look at those games. The totals, you add them up and it barely goes over 70. You might get 70 in one game, like that Lions-Cowboys game that the over-under is at 52 and a hook. Let's pick them. Chris Hassel, Kyle Long, and Pete Prisco. Chargers and Broncos. Guys, this is the matchup of the 2 top-scoring defenses in the NFL. Broncos going for 4 straight here.
Yeah, I love this Broncos team, and primarily I love it because of the identity they play with on defense. They're a tough group that covers down well, extremely well, and they make you pay for mistakes. And we saw it just last week, PS2, going 100 yards. This team will make you pay for your mistakes. And anytime there's 2 good defenses going at each other, I always say, which one's at home, which one has the crowd with them? The Broncos, in this instance, they have the crowd with them, and they've got Bo Nix playing better football. He's not turning the ball over. He's able to get outside the pocket, and it's this awesome Sean Payton kind of methodology of just don't lose us the football game. We don't need you to be Superman out there. We can play good defense. We can take care of the rock offensively, and we can get wins. They're 3-2 right now, and looking at a division game here at home, it's going to be an opportunity to go 4-2.
Look, they've done a great job. That defense is impressive. The corners are playing great. Riley Moss is playing good on the other side. The safeties are playing well. But they were skating until Gardner Minshew the other day. They were going up 17-3, and he threw the end zone interception that Surtain returned for a touchdown.
Playmaker.
Yeah, I mean, Patrick Surtain's a heck of a corner. But they were skating, and they were not going to win that game if they scored there. I'm concerned about that. I think Herbert having the bye week will help him. He'll be back. They'll be physical. They'll run the ball, take the pressure off of him, and then he'll hit a couple shots down the field. I like the Chargers to go in there and win the game.
I could totally see Justin Herbert being healthy and Harbaugh electing to throw the ball a little bit more and letting Justin show off, which could play right into the hands of our guys, Riley Moss and Pat Surtain II. I'm just saying, man. Watch out.
I'll take Herbert
Extra possessions.
I'll take Herbert over Nix any day of the week. So,
how scared are you that the tip of that highlighter is going to get on your jacket, Pete? I see your eyes looking over there every time Kyle gets real close to you at the end of that.
Want to draw a mustache on me?
Draw
my
some
brother Mario.
I can't grow a mustache, so maybe you can draw one on.
The total in that game is 35.5. We got one more point expected in the Steelers-Raiders game. I'm disappointed in you, Kyle. Last week, you were all about the Steelers are going to run all over the Cowboys.
I thought they were going to.
Thought that was going to be a.
You can't help that Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb are just too damn good. Dak Prescott is actually that good. And no matter what kind of hole they get in defensively or as a football team, Dak wills his way into the end zone. zone. He finds a way.
Dak's not on the Raiders, so are you going to go back to the well with the Steelers?
You were giving me crap about my pick last week, so I defend myself a little bit.
It was a loser.
I'm going to pick the Steelers. I'm going to pick the Steelers again.
A loser.
Moving on, I'm going to pick the Steelers again. I still like this group. I like Justin Fields, and people are asking me, is Russell Wilson the guy? I'm not sure if that's the answer to your problems here. You need to be able to stop people with that defense you have. They had a couple guys play really well last week. They're going to need it again against the Raiders on the road. Give me the Steelers.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Steelers as well. Look, we talk about the Steelers quarterback situation. It isn't any worse than what they have on the other side of the field. I can promise you that. You know, Fields, I think, there's talk of Wilson, maybe he'll play. I think Fields gets one more game, at least. I think he needs to go into this game, play well, and then he'll be the guy for a while. If he doesn't, then you might make a change. But I think he's going to play well enough. Look, who is it going to be on the other side? They haven't even said. Is it Minshew? Is it O'Connell? Does it really matter? They're not very good. I'll take the Steelers.
Russell Wilson, going to suit up, pads, 2-minute drill before the game.
I don't understand that.
And by the way, it's game, not name, and that's perfectly fits him because he can't play anymore.
Well, and he hasn't played this season yet for the Steelers. Let's move on to the 4:25 Eastern Time games. Lions and Cowboys. This spread is interesting to me. The total is really high, 52.5, but the Lions favored by 3. Dallas has lost 3 straight at home going back to last year.
They're not going to lose 4 straight, though. I think they win this game outright. You mentioned Dak Prescott in that passing game. If they don't turn the ball over, they blow the Steelers out in that game. I think they're going to play well here. Look, both teams are going to score a lot of points. The Lions have problems stopping the pass. It's been an issue all year long. And they spent so many assets on that side of the ball. You figured, oh, they're going to be so much better on that side of the ball stopping the pass, and they haven't been. I think Prescott will put up numbers. I think Goff will be able to throw against the Cowboys. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game, but I think the Cowboys will find a way to win it.
I think it's going to be a time of possession game. And if the Lions can hold on to that football and be efficient, score every single time they have the ball, and just keep Dak on the sideline. You keep Dak on the sideline, the most dangerous part of the Cowboys aren't in the football game. I got the Lions in this one.
I like the over, though.
I like the Lions in the over. I think it's going to be a track meet. Dak's going to get his opportunities to go down the field and score. But
time of possession or track meet?
No, it's a track meet. It's like keep them off the field.
Okay.
I mean, they scored. Jared Goff throws the ball 17 times.
Am I right here?
Yeah, I was surprised. I mean, usually, like this day and age, coaches will say that that's the most overrated stat, the time of possession.
I don't think so. I think if you look at the way that the Lions are constructed from inside to out with their offensive line, they can wear teams down, score at will. It doesn't have to be down the field 2019 Kansas City Chiefs. It's chunks, chunks, chunks. There's Jared Goff's deep ball. Next thing you know, 7 points are on the board. Let's see if Dak can match it.
Yeah, I think he had an under with the way he was talking, and he saw my paper.
No. I have Lions over right here. Highlight it.
Highlight that sucker. All right, one more game to pick. Falcons at Panthers, and Atlanta's favored by 6.5 here. Now, all the Falcons games have been tight. Every single game, all 5 of them have been one possession, and the spread is within a possession here.
This one's not going to be tight. This one's not going to be tight. Look, the only thing I could think of is coming off the big emotional win against Tampa Bay, the way they rallied to do it. Cousins was sensational in that game, and you go out on the road, it's a slower surface, it's not going to be your track team, but Carolina is so bad right now on defense that I think the Falcons will score, and I don't think Andy Dalton will be able to keep up. Now, the Falcons don't rush the passer. That is a major concern for them going forward. I don't think it's going to be that much of a concern in this game, but I'll take Atlanta as well.
Yeah, I mean, Atlanta, they've gotten better every single time we've seen them. Kirk gets healthier. The offense seems to be more in sync. We saw Mooney and London dominant last week. I really feel like it's an opportunity to build on some of the success they've had. Give me the Falcons in this one.
All right, it is time for Prisco's Picks. I'm not sure why it's called that, because he has one of the worst records in best bets, but it's presented by FanDuel.
Not the worst,
It
though.
should be Kyle's picks. He's 4-1.
Ayo.
Right.
I'm there at 3-2. Pete,
it's
2-3, and well, I don't know what's going on back in
when
the
the leagues
room.
turn brown,
it's early.
I'll be wearing the league crown.
I like that from him. That's catchy. That's catchy.
When the season's over, there's going to be snow on the ground in most places. The leaves will be long gone. Pete, since it's Prisco's Picks, you start us off with your best bet this week.
I'm real hesitant to do this because I'm going back to a total, and they always come back. I say, this game's going to get loose, it's going to be wild.
You have a tough time not picking the high totals to go over?
Because it looks so obvious to me. This one looks obvious. I'm taking the Cowboys and the Lions to go over. It won't be
time of possession game.
It won't be a time of possession game. It's going to be a loose, freewheeling, throw it around kind of game, and I think that's going to play to my over. If I look up in the third quarter and we're sitting there in the green room and it's 17-3, I'm going to puke on myself. How about that? Because I do it every time.
I heard Eisenberg ran into a glass door when you guys were trying to watch games in the green room last week. Kyle, what's your best bet?
I got the Falcons. It's not that complicated.
Sounds like you buy that too.
I like his pick, which I don't want to like.
5-1.
I don't want to like it.
All right, I'm going to go with the Cowboys +3 at home against the Lions. You think they're going to win outright?
I do.
+3. You guys both think they're going to win.
They're desperate. I mean, they lost 3 in a row at home.
By the way, I gave both of yours probably the kiss of death. So sorry.
Maybe.
If I like it the way I've been going, that's not good.
And the way the control room has been going, I don't know, maybe fade this one. They like Commanders. Rams over 52.5. So I'm sorry, Commanders Ravens. I can't even read my own.
Well, we both like that.
Commanders,
too.
I like the over
52.5.
We both. These are the kiss of death.
That's a cowardly way to do it with no pick there. I just think they're going to.
Well, think about it. You guys like my over. You guys like my over. I like your picks. We like the producers' picks.
I don't know if I like the overs. But I really like Kyle's pick, the Falcons -6.5.
You don't like the overs?
Just don't overthink it.
Every time you pick an over, it goes under.
And the producers are rotten.
Yes, producers. one pick right also. Where did Jacqueline go, by the way? Wait, she was here for like a hot minute. She made a couple picks. She missed them and then disappeared.
Yeah, where's her pick?
No pick. No pick from Jacqueline. She's done. Gone. There they are. Love the Falcons -6.5 at Carolina, the pick from Kyle. I like Cowboys +3, and Pete and the producers like the overs in those tie totals of 52.5.